So I'm going to ask you this question. Can white people be racist? Show of hands. Okay. Can black people be racist? Show of hands. Excellent. Show of hands. Okay, thank you. Now what I want you to do is we're going to basically do a little research. I want you to consider two columns. The first column is called white racism. And I want you to name some of the things that are representative of white racism. In other words, how does white racism adversely impact the lives of black people? What are some of those ways that white racism adversely impacts? Housing, education, jobs, health care, profiling as it relates to justice, criminal justice, right. Okay, so if I were to continue to ask you, we would have a nice little list there, okay. And that's okay. Now we're going to move to the next category. How does black racism adversely impact the lives of white people? Let me get clear. I just want an answer as to how black racism adversely impacts the lives of white people as a group. Okay, here comes the problem, okay? Herein lies the problem. And I'll tell you the answer that I normally get, and I'm going to speak to that answer. They'll say fear. Now, I want you to stay there because at first I didn't want to own that. But it's true. But we need to find out why the fear is there. But the reason why we couldn't fill in the other blanks is because racism implies power. I might hate somebody, white, and say, I hate you, white, whitey, whitey. It's not going to change you being able to get that loan. It's not going to impact your ability to get the home of your choice. It implies not an ability to just dislike a group, but the power to impact them with that dislike. So that's what racism implies. And yet, there were a fair number of hands that went up in this audience. And there's a part of that, not understand we can be prejudiced. But to be racist means that you can take that prejudice and you can impact the lives of the whole group. And even when we look at fear, that doesn't happen to the whole group. So what I'm saying is that racism implies power, but the fact that that question ends up with different answers regardless of race says to me we need to continue to have this discussion so that we can understand how we arrived at where we are. And how it is that we don't understand that. So then I started to take a look at behaviors. I had an opportunity, as you all know, many of you know, to go to South Africa. My sister eventually moved to South Africa. And during that time,